Good day everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be discussing Bleach. Surprising, yes. So Saturday the 7th was the 20th anniversary for Bleach being published or serialized in Jump. So for that they did a special one-shot chapter which is about 73 to 74 pages. The official release just released today. But the leaks were online for a while during the week. So let's jump into that, discuss some Bleach and the potential of maybe the manga coming back. So of course, spoiler warning. So yeah, let's dive into it. So of course the chapter starts off and we see this is after the last chapter that we got 5 years ago with the Blood War. So this takes place after that. And we see basically it starts off with a narration about 2 goldfish and one died because one was bigger than the other, and the bigger one died and then the smaller one starts to flourish after the bigger one dies. Then we cut away and we see Orihime come into Kazui's room, Kazui being Ichigo and Orihime's child, and she thanks Kon for sleeping next to him and being there with him, kind of like a security blanket, I guess, or a security camera. But as Orihime leaves, Kazui wakes up and he jumps out the window to go keep a promise to a spirit. And Kon tells him that you have already gotten in trouble for this. Why just stay home? And he tells Kon, well, you could just pretend you're asleep and you didn't see. But him and Kon go. Something to note though is when he goes, he transforms into his Soul Reaper form, but he doesn't knock his soul out of his body like what Ichigo has to do. More so, he turns into a Soul Reaper. So like his normal clothes disappear and we see Soul Reaper Shihakusho envelop him. And he lands on top of a goldfish kind of thing. And they go. So, moving from there, they get to the area that he wanted to go to. And it seems to be kind of reminiscent of Bleach's first chapter then, when Ichigo visited the girl's spirit by the lamppost that died. Similar to that, Kazui goes to visit this crying spirit of a man who died. And he tells him that he's going to take him somewhere where everyone else is. So they go to this spooky shrine and Kazui does some special ritual where he says you have to clap 3 times, bow twice, and then clap once, and a portal opens. And we see hell butterflies come out of it, and Kazui basically says he's going to take him there. And we cut away from that and we get a title and it says No Breaths from Hell. So no breaths from hell, and then we jump straight into the Soul Society now. And in the Soul Society, basically what's going on is, the gist of it is we see they're preparing a ritual, and this ritual is to give the last rites basically to the captains that died during the Blood War. And I guess every year they have this ritual or so. But during this ritual, since it's for captains alone, usually nobody's invited, but they call Ichigo. So we see Renji and Rukia call Ichigo to invite him. And we cut to Ichigo a little bit and we see his hair looks better than in the last chapter. So that's a plus. And we see that he's at his friend's new ramen shop. I forgot which one of his friends. I think it's Keigo opened the ramen shop and he's at his shop. But he tells Renji that basically he'll come. And while they're having this discussion as well, we see, or we get a glimpse of all the different captains and what's going on. So we see like Mayuri has a new freaky outfit. We see Squad 7, I believe, Komamura's whole squad that's run by Iba now, and we see Iba has a new lieutenant, and his new lieutenant seems to be deaf. We get confirmation of that later on, but his new lieutenant is deaf and he is speaking to the animals. So essentially that's the gist of this, and we find out Urahara is in the 12th division working with some technology, doing something or helping them. So yeah, that's the gist of this whole ritual thing that they invited Ichigo for, and why all the captains are assembling. And the one other part about the ritual is usually they catch a hollow from the world of the living and bring it there and they kill it in front of the grave, kind of ritualistic kind of thing. So yeah. But we then cut away from that and we see now more of Ichigo and Renji talking because Ichigo is there now. And while speaking, we get introduced to Lisa's is it Lisa's squad? The lieutenant for her. I think it's Yaya Rosa, Yara Hara, Yaya something. But she's energetic. Renji tells him that basically this is the new captain for that squad. And then of course he tells him about Iba's lieutenant who's deaf. And while they're speaking and having all of this, we see Ichika is there watching what's going on. And one thing to mention about Ichika, early on in the chapter we saw her as well, and she seems to be training with Ikaku because Ikaku has his own dojo now. So that was a little glimpse of them there. But now we see her here, I guess in the world of the living, with Ichigo and the rest trying to capture this hollow. And what happens is this giant hollow appears behind them, but they don't notice it. And Ichika sees it and calls out to her dad. But a bit too late, it's already hit him into a building. And we see more giant hollows up here. And this is where the chapter begins to get interesting. So the hollows start attacking. We see Isane's sister is stabbed through the gut by one of them. And the attack continues. And we get a revelation of Iba's new lieutenant's power. And it is basically his sword turns into hawks or animals in general, I'm not sure. And since he's deaf and he can't speak, the way he releases his sword is he draws a symbol on it, probably the kanji for the word. Because in this he draws the kanji for the word hawk and it turns into hawks and devours the hollow. I like that. We also get a bit of the, is it Lisa? I feel like it's not Lisa, it's the other one. It's not Lisa, it's the other one who looks like Lisa. Who's Lisa's role model? She was one of the devices. I forgot her name at the moment. But essentially her lieutenant. And she uses a new move kind of like this. And she does this with her hands and a big bear jaw appears and snaps down on the hollow. So I'm interested to see what her power exactly is. But while this fighting is going on in the world of the living, we cut to the captains in front of Ukitake's grave now, preparing for the ritual. So I guess they're waiting on the hollow probably. But while they're waiting, we see they start to notice reishi, or not really reishi, but cytoplasm, I think they call it in the English translation. In unofficial it was will-o-wisp, but it's from hell. And they're wondering why it's here and what's going on. And this is where we get another big revelation. And Ukitake's grave is still there, so they're all around it trying to figure out this thing that's going on. And Kiraku begins to tell them, well, there's this myth that, or this folklore that each individual soul reaper has like a spirit grade. And as you go up in rank, your spirit grade increases. And the gist of it is spirit grade 3 are captains, and usually spirit grade 3 or higher cannot decompose, then like how we bury people and they go back to soil essentially. Spirit grade 3s cannot do that, and the myth is they send these spirit grade level people down to hell. So yeah. While that's going on, now we cut back to the main fight. We see Ichigo and them fighting the hollows, and then we see a door open and we see Zalaporo makes his return, and he's different. He has one skeletal arm and he's, how would I say this, he's changed, still a madman, but physically he's changed. He has a new appearance. And he mentions that his hollow hold is no longer in him, it's outside him, because we see like a giant halo around his back. And he begins talking to them and he calls out to Renji and he says, who's the little kid by her? She's scared. He also mentions that Ishida isn't there, but we get basically him trying to attack Renji now and uses the chains from hell to stab Renji and impale him. But Ichigo comes to the rescue, slashes his chain, and he tells Renji to take Ichika and get to safety. He'll deal with it. And Zyle tells Ichigo that, basically the Soul Reapers have unknowingly been sending their own dead to hell, and this caused some imbalance with the gates and the realms because it's only strong Soul Reapers they've been sending down there. And he says that the ritual is complete, and Ichigo is like, but we didn't kill the Hollows. And Zyle is like, but you did. Those are Hell Guardians that you just killed. And you've completed the ritual. And before Zyle could finish, we see a giant sword impale him through his chest. And it's Jushiro's sword. I was gonna say Ukitake, and then Jushiro, and then but yeah, Jushiro's sword goes through him. And Ichigo is in shock, and we see his Soul Reaper badge kind of glow a bit. And he tells Ichigo that, yeah, the ritual has been completed. And then we cut back a little bit to Rukia and Kyoraku, and they're like, have we sent captains or Ukitake to hell by mistake? So they're still trying to figure out what's going on there, and Ichigo is still trying to figure out what's going on here. And in one of the final panels, we see what seems to be a skull reforming, I guess. So interesting. And the chapter basically ends there, and then we get a next title card that says New Breaths from Hell, because at the beginning it was No Breaths from Hell, and now it's New Breaths from Hell. And the chapter ends. And this is a lot because it's supposed to be a one shot, but it sets up for a sequel manga. And if it does, that's super hype because Bleach is my favorite anime. It's one of the main ones that I loved growing up. So yeah, it's hype. But more about this sequel. So we have no idea if it's going to be a full-on sequel, when it would come out, what it's going to do. All we know that is this one shot dropped for the 20th anniversary, and that was it. They didn't give much details after that. And it could be also to hype up the anime coming back. So if the anime is coming back, there's a lot they could do with the anime. There's the blood war, there's things people want. People like me or fans want them to change that didn't go so well in the manga due to the time constraints and rushing to finish. Then there's the novels they can adapt to. So yeah, we have a lot to look at. So I don't know where we're going to go with this, how we're going to probably branch out and tell more of the story or where. But I would be interested in seeing a few captains come back to see their Bankais and Shikas that we didn't see before. Even some of the Visors, because there's a lot we didn't see before the manga itself ended. So yeah, that was Bleach, 20th anniversary chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.